This time on Past Deadline, this week's news in 60 seconds, and guest host and sports editor Austin Chastain takes over to interview esports athlete Zack Saffron, his coach Katherine Hanchon, and CM Life sports reporter Katherine Schultz. I'm your host, podcast editor Ben Ackley, and this is Past Deadline, your behind-the-scenes look at Central Michigan life. Here's this week's news in 60 seconds. Former CMU telecommunications technician Tony Yeager is no longer employed by the university. Yeager retired from CMU on August 31st after junior Rondo Sanders filed a complaint against him pertaining to racist comments Yeager made on August 26th at Cheers Neighborhood Grill. According to his September 14th media release, the search for Central Michigan's next athletic director has been narrowed to 3 candidates. Amy Folan, the executive senior associate athletics director at the University of Texas, Michigan State's Deputy Athletic Director Alan Haller, and Derek Vandermeer, former CMU football player and current Assistant Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at Arizona University. September 15th through October 15th, Hispanic Heritage Month will be celebrated virtually and through grab-and-go activities on CMU's campus. Events are to include painting, a cooking demonstration, and several lectures on biases, Spanish language dialects, stereotypes that Latinx people face, and more. The full schedule can be found at the Multicultural Academic Student Services website. Up next, sports editor Austin Chastain takes over to talk to esports athlete Zack Saffron, his coach Katherine Hanchon, and CM Life sports reporter Katherine Schultz.
Hello and welcome in to Past Deadline. I am your host, Austin Chastain. I'm also the sports editor at Central Michigan Life, doing things a little bit differently this week. We have a sports-centered episode for you today. I guess this week, however you want to go about it. In the Zoom call, 'cause, I would say normally along, side by side with, but we're going to say. We're going to say in the Zoom call, we have Katherine Schultz, our staff reporter, who put together a wonderful piece on the CMU esports team. And also in the call, we have CMU esports head coach and advisor, Katherine Hanchon. We're going to go with Kat here. And League of Legends player, Zack Saffron, who is a junior from Waterford. So let's just get right into it. So Katherine, first, tell us a little bit about yourself. I don't know if our readers and followers have had the opportunity to meet you yet.
They have not. I am Katherine. I am a sophomore at CMU. I started working for CM Life in the spring, doing bits and pieces for sports. I did some men's basketball coverage, and then gymnastics coverage, and then I did after the shutdown, I did a university recreation and CrossFit story, which I think picked up really well. So I'll be covering esports for the remainder of the semester, and I'm very excited to do so. There's a lot of good things in the works for it, and I'm really, really excited to get to work with these people and get esports out there to the world.
Well, absolutely, and you had a little bit of experience with the esports, and specifically the CMU esports team.
Yes.
Give us a little bit of background of your experience with the esports program.
So last year I tried out and made the varsity Overwatch team, which was called Maroon at the time, but technically it would be like the gold, the first string. So it was still at the club level at that time under the CMU Esports Club, before we made all the transitions and then before SAI really, took attention to it and picked it up and said, hey, we want to do something with this. And I thought it was really cool to be a part of the entire thing. We went in November, everybody went to Western Michigan and we had this big, tournament. It was super fun. And then in the spring, things kind of slowed down. The Overwatch team actually did really well in their test of the season in the spring, which unfortunately came to a close against, I think, Kansas. So it was a bit of a heartbreaker, but we still had a lot of fun. I don't really play the game much anymore, but I do have like a lot of knowledge of most of esports. I pay attention to the pro leagues. I kind of have a general understanding of what's going on, and I'm just really excited to be able to write about it for CM Life.
Well, awesome. And this story that was on our print edition this week was your first cover story. I think you had the one gymnastics story from last year.
Yeah,
kind of
it just made print, but it wasn't anything,
Right. But so this was your first cover story. When we had discussed that it was going to be the cover story, I guess how excited were you about it, and I guess what was it like to put together the story?
It was super fun to put together this story overall, but when I first learned that it was going to be a cover story, I was nervous. We mentioned that we're going to do an esports edition, and initially I thought, I had this, smaller story idea, and I was like, okay, it's just going to be like little, not the headline cover story, but like the, still in the headlines. And I thought it would just be like a smaller story. And then you told me it would be the cover story. And I'm like, okay, we were initially going to run with a smaller idea of, player profiles, and just to understand like, extracurrigular and common co-curriculars that esports players have, just to highlight on how cool they are, the kind of stuff they do. And then figured out it was going to be the cover story. And I was nervous. I was like, we need something bigger. And we came up with something bigger, and it's really awesome.
Zach, we'll go to you next. If you would introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself. I obviously mentioned that you're a junior from Waterford, but
right.
there's a lot. I think there might be a lot more to you than that. So please go ahead.
Yeah. Of course. All right. Yes, I'm Zach. I'm a junior here. I'm a computer science major. I do play League of Legends. If anybody that follows that, I play AD carry, which is like the carrying role of the game. I'm in the marching band at Central, so I play the mellophone. So if you ever listen, know that I'm there. I could go on and on, I guess. Maybe I can't. I don't even know. What else do you want to know?
We kind of explore it in the story a little bit too, but you're one of the people that was part of the League of Legends club at first when you first got to CMU, and then you're able to see it go from a club level to a varsity level. I mean, and like I said, I know that we explored it in the story, but
Right.
just what was that experience like? 'Cause you kind of had one of the bigger voices in that movement. So what was that change like for you? And I guess how excited are you that esports has such great attention level?
I think that especially when it started to change and it started getting more attention to the university, I thought I was thinking really far into the future at first, I'm a part of the beginning of it, like maybe someday it'll be like put on somewhere in the SAC, that these people were people that started it, and it makes me really excited to be a part of the very beginning of it for CMU, as well as a lot of universities all across the US. I think that when it transitioned as well, it got a lot more serious in terms of players being serious about the team, as well as everybody around, production being a lot more serious and a lot more professional. We actually have schedules that we can all work around. We're not just doing one game a week, we're actually trying a lot harder to be a better team, and we want to have success.
And now, right on, Coach Kat, we'll kind of move over your way here too. Kind of the same question to you. we explored it in the story, but the esports program was in Pierce Hall, huddling around a laptop, watching film from a previous match. Now there's significant funding. There's a center, like as a temporary center for you guys to go compete in, to go practice in, to go, like I said, watch film. How, and I think I've asked you this question before, but how special is it to see your team go from a club level to kind of have, like Zach said, kind of jumping through hoops just to play in matches and compete, to it's kind of the real deal now?
So for me, this has always been about getting opportunities for these students. From the moment that I started coaching, it was being able to be a voice and an advocate for them, and being able to, see them get the resources that they need. So watching the support come from, the top down has just been incredible. And this gives our students a chance to have, equal footing, really, in the esports arena. Not everyone has access to high quality computers on their own. Not everybody has access to high quality internet on their own. This is a spot that has given us the chance to have every one of our players on the same footing, giving them the same opportunity to use good equipment, really great equipment, and have the opportunity to compete in person with a consistent internet connection and a consistent schedule. And, I've already seen that consistency paying off for some of these students. We had one student who is on our maroon team who is now competing at a gold team level. And it's bonkers that in the 2 weeks that we've had these teams formed, the consistent schedule, scrims and the consistent players and camaraderie that they can create with the support that they're getting from the university too. It's so heartwarming overall just to see this level of commitment to our students. And I am 1,000% behind it and making sure that all of our students can also eventually use the facility, because this isn't just going to be for, all of our esports students. Eventually it will open up to all students, so that way everyone can have that opportunity.
Yeah. And kind of that opportunity, that was something that that we had already had talked about in the story as well, but and thinking about your players, which for viewers and listeners, real quick, just to help break it down a little bit, each of the 4 games or esports that is offered, that's supported by the program, is broken down into a maroon team and a gold team. Right, gold team is like the first string, and maroon team is the second string.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep, got it. And so that's how that's broken down just a little bit. But Kat, going back to what you were saying earlier, but about your players having that opportunity, again, something that we explored in the story, but just how important is it for esports players to have an opportunity to compete under the CMU banner, similar or just like like football players do or basketball players do?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's an opportunity to represent the university and to be basically an ambassador for our university. And I take that very seriously. I myself am a 2-time alum of CMU. I actually am a graduate of the journalism program, as well as the MSA program in public administration. So the Chippewa pride is within me. The CMU Chippewa pride is within me. It is very important and near and dear to my heart. And so being able to have our students come up and be these representatives and showcase it is absolutely key. But how can you do that if you don't have the right equipment? If somebody's playing on a laptop the entire time with a not so great internet connection, then that's going to put them at an unfair advantage. So having that opportunity to get everybody into the same space, to get them to start thinking about how they're communicating in person and how they're calling things in game. It's about more than just their in-game experiences too. It's about them having the opportunity to grow as people as well. I hope that it comes across for all of the students and that they get that opportunity.
Zach, kind of going back to you, in terms of, when you were growing up, what kind of sports did you play, and kind of what drew you to playing League of Legends? I saw that was your brother actually brought you to it, correct?
Yes, actually. Okay, well, in terms of sports, I played soccer, basketball, baseball. I wasn't the best at them, but I did play them. But for League, my brother did get me into it. I wasn't super serious at the time. I was like a sophomore in high school, barely played it. Just played it for fun with my friends, and then I got all right at it. I was pretty all right, and I got here. I went to Central and I joined the club. And I remember when I was trying out for the team, one player said, "If you are going to be in marching band, you will never get better at the game." And I took that as a challenge, and I proved him wrong. And I still do band, and I don't want to glow, but I'm one of the better, best players ish. I'm a high rank. I've always been a high rank since I've been here, at least. And without my brother, I probably would have never even found out about League or ever wanted to play it, probably, because I used to follow in his footsteps.
That's awesome. Coach, I have a little bit of a claim here. Looks like we're looking at one of the best players on the team.
He is a high rank, yes. Yep.
Other than that,
honestly, Zach he's been a great asset to our team. He's really started to step up this semester and start to take on a leadership role. And I'm really excited to see what he can do and to see what the team can do with his help. Honestly, it's one of those things that he knows the game mechanics a little bit better than me. I will only say a little bit because it's only been a little bit since I played the game. No, he's honestly such a great asset for all of us. And he's also kind of stepped into a role of helping coach the Maroon team as well in some ways, talking about, how different plays could go better, how different heroes can work better together, that kind of thing. He's been a great help in making sure that our teams are successful.
Yeah.
I'll give that one to him.
I guess wrapping it up, do you guys have any parting thoughts, any final thoughts before we wrap it up here?
Please excuse my cat. I will leave you with one last thought. I would love it if everyone could go follow our Twitter and Twitch. So our Twitter is at CMICH Esports, CMICH Esports, all one word. And then our Twitch is twitch.tv/CMICH Esports. I believe we also have an Instagram, but I'm not entirely sure what the handle for that is. Zach, do you remember?
Yes, so. It is Central Michigan Esports.
Awesome. So if people could give us a follow there, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys heard it. CMish Esports on Twitter, twitch.tv/CMish Esports. Make sure you give the esports program a follow. With that, I think this is a sign off. So thank you guys again. One last time. Thank you guys again so much. We will talk to you guys again when we meet again.
Thanks to sports editor Austin Chastain for taking over this week. You've been listening to Past Deadline, a production of the CM Life podcast division. Every story referenced in this episode can be found at our website, cm-life.com. To keep up with us, follow us on social media at Central Michigan Life on Instagram, at CM Life on Twitter, or follow the Central Michigan Life Facebook page. I've been your host, podcast editor Ben Ackley, and this has been Past Deadline. Until next week, so long and stay informed.